One of the weapons for Shodan is firearms. Primarily what I want people to do is become familiar with firearms. I want you to become familiar with styles of shooting, just so that you know how to use your body in a natural way in case you ever choose to use a firearm. I also want you to be aware of firearms because they're pretty prevalent in today's society. Basically what I show you is a couple approaches for disarming firearms. I do not suggest that just because you've trained a little while in any kind of martial art that you should feel confident enough to be able to try to take a gun away. This is to give you a few ideas to be able, if you're caught in that situation, you choose to try to take a gun away, that you know some approaches in doing so. This is not a recommendation to try to think to take away a gun that somebody has on you. Always check to make sure that, always make sure to check that there are no bullets in any gun at all before you use them in any kind of situation. Currently right now we're using a BB and a pellet gun, just making sure that there's nothing in the chambers even after I have checked this weapon thoroughly. A couple of approaches. If a person has a gun in front of you, it will all really depend on their intent. You notice that the line of fire is straight into me, even if it's into my body, that if I have to move, it's the same center line. That I don't want to move this way because it keeps this half of my body in the line of fire the whole time. But if I take and I turn this to the side, then I'm moving the mass out of my body out of the way. So if I even get hit, it'll be a clip instead of going through parts of my body by just moving to the side this way. So the first move that I would want to do is move all of myself. Some people have a habit of leaving this other arm out, which they're going to get shot right through the arm. If you're going to move on this, that you need to move the weapon away. It will really be determined, your disarms, on whether this weapon has a recoil type action, such as 9mm and some 45s. Because if you grab a hold of this, this is going to slide and cock back and rip your hand off, and the person's going to shift their body and end up shooting you. So you have to be very aware of those kind of things. Instead, placing your hand at the base of the arm here so that the recoil will miss your fingers, coming up underneath the gun in this fashion, turning away. And continuing with this move, taking the gun, stripping the gun out. Could come back, blow against the head itself. So once more, they may say, get your hands up. That's a perfect opportunity because he's expecting my hands to rise. If he expects my hands to rise, can be a time I can just turn and move in here. I can take and do my other moves, as you've been learning already, taking the gun out. The gun in the back is the same similar situation. Again, I just need to turn my body. Now this will really make a difference if it's in the middle of my back or if it's at one side or the other side. If it's on the side of my body, I would have to turn the opposite way because I wouldn't want to turn this way because I'm turning the whole mass of my body to where this projectile is going to go through it. So if we move it to this side to show you that I want to wait maybe till I feel this little push. If a person says push, I want to go with the push. I can turn back around, taking down on this arm, and then finish off my attacker. Once more, I would just turn. Being very careful. Once more, as I feel this push, it's natural for me to move. Making sure this weapon doesn't come back at me or point at anybody else. I can keep the weapon pointing up. I know it's not going to hurt or damage anybody else as a bystander. One of the problems with a lot of gun disarms is people are
that if I'm going to be using this weapon, I use it the same way as I would take and I would reach out and point, or reach out and do a ski. It's the same thing that I would do with a gun. Even when you're treating a gun that is not loaded, you want to treat it and act as if it is loaded at all times. Ultimate safety, because accidents can and do occur too often. The basic ideas of learning about a gun at its showdown or beginning showdown level is to create familiarity with the weapon. This is a projectile. It projects things out of it at a very fast pace and does major damage. They're utilized all over the world. It's very, very important to at least know and understand how they work in case you're in a situation where one is used against you. Basic ideas of shooting is that I want to be able to come straight, just natural, just as if I'm going to be naturally using my taijutsu. Just aiming same way as if I'm going to naturally be just pointing my finger at a target. Showing my finger on the gun, it's the same way. I'm just pointing. Whatever I point at, that's where the bullet's going to go at. You can learn to be very, very, very accurate in just in a natural shooting, natural position. Shooting at all different levels, different targets, naturally moving, naturally shooting. So if you're here, very easy, same as an ichimonji. Always making sure that you're not pointing your weapon at you. Same as if you're in an upper position, learning to be able to shoot naturally from any posture. You're here, naturally being able to move. No matter what your position, does not take two hands, and it can be just get the feel of the weapon so it becomes as natural as the rest of any other taijutsu that you do. So that even if you're, same thing with your rolling skills, you have to make sure that your weapon's pointed away from yourself, and is not shooting or attacking anyone else. So that as I move to the ground, I'm still watching my opponent at all times, no matter where my roll, no matter what my positioning needs to be. Natural. Those are some aspects.